Hi, hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Knitting Esquire, a YouTube channel all about my knitting and crafting adventures. My name is Candace, and you can find me over on Instagram as Candace Sue ESQ Knits and over on Ravelry as the Knitting ESQ. Today's episode, I have a couple of finished objects to talk about. I have some new works in progress, and I have a few items that I've procured over the last couple of weeks since I last recorded. So, why don't we go ahead and dive right in? You can find all of the information regarding the projects as well as the yarn dyers and pattern makers in the description box below. So if you just click the little chevron and pull that information down, I will put a link to all of my Ravelry pages for each project, as well as links to any of the makers I talk about on today's episode. So, without further ado, let's head right in to my finished objects. So, the last episode, I believe I was in the middle of working on my St. Patty's Day socks, and those have been finished for a while now. Things have been super crazy at work for me, and I just hadn't really been in the mood to do anything, even knit. I took probably about a week off of knitting just because I was so burnt out and working so late. So I just needed to pause and reset, and things are so much better this week. So I was really excited to podcast, but I'm also even more excited that I actually have some finished objects to highlight. So in the last episode, I talked about my St. Patty's Day socks. Couldn't think of the word that I was looking for there. And these are on the Crazy Sock Ladies heel toe dosey dough pattern. And I knit these on US 1, I think that's what, 2.25 millimeter, 9-inch circular needles. That's what I knit all of my socks on. I don't think I can switch at this point in time. It's just my favorite way of knitting. So if you get, I'll probably say that a few more times when I podcast, just so you know that that's what I generally prefer. So this is my knitted sock, and it's not on blockers right now because my next finished object is stealing those. But this is my freckled Whimsy. This was part of her magical mischief club, and which is a Harry Potter club. And this colorway is called Peeves the Poltergeist, and it is just it's fantastic for Peeves, but it's even better for St. Patty's Day. And I'm so excited that we will be in London next week on vacation, and I will be able to wear these on St. Patty's Day while we're there, hopefully at a pub, which would be even better. So I knit these size small on the pattern, which is a 56 stitch cast on. It's a 2x2 rib, which is my preferred method. I used to do everything 1x1, but I've really grown to like the 2x2 rib. And then just her standard heel toe dosey dough pattern, which is absolutely fantastic for self striping yarn. And I did the heel, toes, and cuffs in the contrasting mini, which is just this standard great perfect Kelly green, with the recommended heel, which is the slip stitch heel. I love them. They fit so nice and tight on my heel. I don't know, I actually haven't even tried like a cut-in heel or any kind of like other butterfly kiss or whatever they're called. I just really prefer this heel. It fits so well. It doesn't move around a lot in my shoe, and so I just stick with that same heel every time. I started these on February 11th and finished them on February 18th. I used approximately 16.9 grams of the mini and 52.19 grams of the main skein here. And this pair of socks is pair number 5 for my year-long 24 of 2024 make-along that I'm doing, I guess, by myself. Maybe you're doing it as well, but if you are, let me know. I would love to know who decided to join in on my quest for socks. But this makes pair number 5 for the year. So I am very much on track to hitting my goal of 24 in 2024. I think, her base, Freckled Whimsy base for this yarn is on her Splendid base, which is an 85% superwash merino and a 15% nylon, which is also my favorite yarn base. So that is finished object number 1. And finished object number 2 is also another pair of socks. And so I was feeling a bit, I was feeling in a bit of a rut as far as what pattern I wanted to do and what color I wanted to choose. So as I'm standing and staring, I just told my husband, pick something. I kind of knew I wanted to do some sparkle yarn, some sparkle socks. So I just made him go to my stash. There's some over on this bowl in front of me as well. And he ended up picking out a colorway that is based off of Lover, Taylor Swift's album. And then I said, well, I'm kind of sick of knitting the same patterns, so why don't you go ahead and pick out a pattern for me to knit as well? And so he did that. And I then knit up these amazingly lovely, beautiful socks. And I can't wait to wear them. Let me see if I can get in here a little bit. Oh yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. Look at you can actually see the stellina in there. Oh, those are so fantastic. Ooh, so excited to wear these. So this is the Gypsy Soul pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. Again, I knit these on US 1 2.25 millimeter Addy Turbo Rockets 9-inch circulars. And the colorway is called Lover. It is by Sorella. And this is on her Stellina sock base, which is a 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% gold Stellina. And there's this coordinating mini here. And so I used the mini for the cuffs and the toes, and then I just knit the rest of it in the standard main skein, and it just kind of did this. It's not even variegated. It almost looks like it's a striped patterned, but it's not a striped sock set. It turned out so lovely, and the colors are fantastic. They match the album cover so great. And so I also cast these on a size small, which is 56 stitches. That's my standard go-to. This pattern has a little bit of I think it's like 8 round repeats. So I think I did 5 repeats, which would be 60 rounds for the leg. And then I usually end up somewhere around 50 rounds before I start the decreasing on the toe, just to get to the size that I wear. And so I think I had to do a little bit of fudging to make it work once I finished the gusset and getting down to the toe length. So these might be a little bit longer, but they fit fantastic. They look great. I started these on February 18th. I had my little week-long break of not knitting anything, and I ended up finishing these on March 3rd. And this makes pair number 6 for 24 of 2024. I used 12.6 grams of the mini and 50.59 grams of the main skein. I still have enough probably to make another pair of socks, full-size socks out of the mini and the full skein. So maybe I will do that. I've moved on to a different project at this point, but maybe I'll pick that back up later. So otherwise, the crazy sock lady takes a portion of all of her skeins of yarn when she's done, and she puts them into like scrappy blankets. And I thought about doing that. I don't know how much of a blanket knitter I am, other than the two that I have going right now, and the Wizard of Oz one I haven't worked on in months. I'm so far behind on that. Eventually I'll pick it back up, or decide to just cast it off and then bind it off and then start a new one, just because it is getting so large. I think there's over 1,500 stitches on it right now, and the thought of binding that off is kind of dreadful, but it's just sitting for now. And the other blanket that I have is my Taylor Swift Knit the Eras blanket, which I will talk about here in just a few minutes. But those are really the only blankets I've ever really done or started. And so I don't know how well I would do on a scrappy blanket. So if you like to knit scrappy blankets, let me know. And let me know if that's something I should try. And if you have a favorite pattern for that. I know there's like the comfy cozy square blanket, and then there's a couple other really good ones. There's the jelly roll, and so I would be interested to know what your favorite blanket pattern is for scraps, and maybe I will jump on the Scrappy Sunday bandwagon. But those are my finished objects, unless we consider my Knit the Eras for the month of February that is completed a finished object, circling back to the previous episode. But I will showcase that in my works in project, which we can move right into now. So I will start with the Knit the Eras blanket. Last time I podcasted, I hadn't received the yarn yet, but it did come maybe a day or two later, and then I spent that weekend knitting the mystery portion of it. I have yarn flying everywhere. I am keeping this in my Tula Pink. I think this is like I don't remember what line this is from, but that's a cute little dragonfly, and it fits perfectly in here. And this one is for, oh goodness, what is the color? Fearless. And so the design, which is done by Kristen Ashbaugh Helmrich, or Kristen in Stitches, she decided to make the Fearless represent like the tassels on the bottom of Taylor's dresses. And I just think it's really cute, along with the first month, which was January, which is the purple, which is the Lover album. And so this yarn is Archaic Fibers, and it is 100% superwash British BFL, and it's Aran weight. So it goes quick. There's like 240 some odd stitches or something like that. And I can usually finish up, well, so far I've been finishing up each clue for the month the same day that I start it, if not the following morning. So it goes really quick. I'm knitting this on a US 9 needle. And again, this is the Knit the Eras mystery knit along, sorry. And so I completed clue number 2 on February 16th. So that is chugging right along. The next clue comes out on the 13th, which is what? Next week. So we're leaving for London that day. So I probably won't be able to finish that. I don't even know if the yarn will be here. It's not here yet. So I probably won't finish that until after we return back. But we do have a few days before we go back to work and school when we get home. And so I have a feeling I'll be able to complete that during that time. So that is whip number 1. My next whip has a funny story. So my son, my youngest son, um, was complaining to my husband maybe a week or so ago, that I have all of this yarn and I pick out the yarn for myself, and then I always knit myself something and I don't knit anybody anything else, which is not true. You saw that I did sister socks, so I do knit for other people. He just has never really asked me to knit him anything. And so that night, after my husband had told me this conversation that he had with him, I went to him and I said, "Well, are you mad at me?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, you said you would sometime knit me mittens. I really want mittens." And so I said, "Okay, go to the yarn wall and pick out what you want." And so he did, and I started some mittens for him. These will be done before we leave. I'm already halfway done. And so I chose to do the world's simplest mittens, which is a tin can knits pattern. It's free, it's super simple, and it goes so quick. He has such tiny hands for a 10-year-old. I was actually afraid that these might be a little bit small, but when I tried them on him, it fits him so perfectly. And so I'm knitting these on, well, I did the cuff in a US 1 2.25 millimeter needle, and then I am knitting the main portion of the mitten on US 2, so you just go up a little bit. And then I decided to do the thumb back down. I don't have US 2s on DPNs. I have 3s, but they're nickel and I hate them so much because the stitches just slip right off. So I just broke out my 1s and I did the thumb on size 1, which honestly, I don't think it made that big of a difference. And quite frankly, you don't want that loose of a thumb anyway. And it really helped tighten up the stitches in the gusset, and I'll show that. But he decided to go with the Freckled Whimsy Wednesday Club from the Netflix series in the colorway of Ophelia Hall. And this is on her... This is not on her Splendid base. This is on her Serendipity base, which is a 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. And it's so cute. It's so perfect for his little hand. So I just decided to go ahead and cast on, what did I do for this one? I probably should have wrote it down. Well, now I'm going to have to go and count my stitches here. I don't remember how many I cast on. It was not what the pattern called for. I actually went a little bit smaller, I think. He was kind of in between, and I thought it would be better for it to be a little bit tighter than it would be for it to be too loose. So now I'm going to have to go back and figure out what I did. But I did do 20 rounds for the cuff. I wrote that down. And after you hit the thumb, so you knit like 4 rounds. This is a free pattern, so I can give away. You knit 4 rounds after the cuff, and then you start the thumb gusset increases. And then once I hit the maximum number of increases for the thumb gusset, you put the thumb stitches on hold, and then I just did 22 rounds until I got to the decreasing portion, and then I decreased down to I think maybe 8 stitches on each side. And then for the thumb, I have no idea what I did. Oh, I knit for an inch. I really should have made better notes on this, I think. I'll just wing it. He'll love them either way. So anyway, that is mitten number 1, and I am got a mess here, but I am this far into mitten number 2, which I think looks like the cuff is probably almost done. So I really should just get these back on the circulars because I'm doing them DPNs for the size 1s on these, and then I'm just using my Addy. This is not the Turbo Rocket, it's just an Addy. I think it's just an Addy Turbo. So it doesn't have the one long needle here. They're just the same 1-inch needles. So it's just small size 2 needles. And I am storing this in a Winnie the Pooh bag that I made. I started this on February 25th, and I'm hoping that I will have this done this weekend, if not before then. I'm kind of obsessed with a new project that I cast on the other day, so we'll see which one takes my time this week, but these will be done before we leave for London, so that way he can wear them in the rainy, drizzly weather that I'm anticipating when we get to London. I think that is it for whip number 2. I am just chugging right along here. And whip number 3, because like I said, I took a little bit of a knitting break, so I haven't really worked on too many projects, is being stored in a freshly made bag because I was feeling like spring. I made this and finished it on Sunday this past weekend, and this is some tulip pink, really cute fabric, along with a cute little tulip pink rainbow on the inside. It just brightens my day and makes it so fun. So this project, I went in the same method as I did with the Gypsy Soul socks and asked my husband to pick out some yarn and a pattern, and he said, well, it's springtime, so let's pick out some spring yarn. And so he decided to go with my Kimber's Cozy Creations yarn. And I had bought this a few months ago. She was doing a collaboration for a knit along. It was a Gilmore Girls knit along, and I love the Gilmore Girls so much. This yarn is supposed to depict a Pop-Tart, and it really is fantastic. And this is called What If I Don't Like Pop-Tarts? And it's so great with the speckles in there, and it's supposed to be like a cherry Pop-Tart. And this, the lighting on this is fantastic. This is truly what it looks like. It is so springy, so cute. You can see the speckles. It's just picking it up fantastically. Is that a word? Fantastically. And so I am knitting this again on my US 1 2.25 millimeter needles, Addy Turbo Rockets. And my husband decided to choose the Sock Camp Picnic pattern, say that 3 times fast, by the Crazy Sock Lady. Again, 56 stitch cast on, size small, and a 2x2 rib cuff. This is where I'm at, and this is the patterning so far. It's supposed to look like a little cute picnic basket or a picnic blanket. It's so cute, this patterning. And let's see, this yarn is on her Cozy Fingering, which is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Again, the colorway is What If I Don't Like Pop-Tarts? And I started this on March 4th. It's very doable. I could probably get these done before we leave next week. Maybe I'll make that a goal. Get the mittens done, get the socks done. I might be able to squeeze in another podcast before we leave. We'll see how things go. But that is where I'm at on this project. I am just flying right by here. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about that project right now. So that's where I'm at. I haven't really touched any of my other works in progress. My Stephen West shawl is still knitting. My Hiddo Feud cardigan, I have not touched it since the last time I've shown it. I've been focused on socks. It's just, I'm getting them done in a week, and so it just makes it feel like I'm accomplishing something. Just like I can make up these bags in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and so I feel like I've accomplished something, and who doesn't need more project bags? So maybe I'll have to like force myself to make a few more of those this weekend too. So since that completes my works in progress, I'm sorry I've flown by it so quickly. This will be a shorter episode. I do have some gluttony procurements to talk about. So let's pull those out. This past, well, actually this week, this ongoing week. So starting on Saturday, this past weekend, it started the Central Florida Orange Blossom Yarn Crawl. And there are like 5 major yarn stores, local yarn shops in my area that are participating or that make up the yarn crawl. And so my mother-in-law and I decided on Saturday this past weekend to make it through 3 of the 5. And so we spent 6 hours in the car traveling basically the whole state of Florida this way. We started at Four Pearls, and then we went to oh my goodness, why can't I think of the name of it? I think I have it. Sorry for the crinkles. Then we went to, yes, here we go, Knit and Stitch Boutique over in Cocoa. And then we stopped at Necessities near UCF, one of the local colleges here. And then we have 2 more to go to. There's Knit, which is not very far from where I'm located. And then there is She Sells Yarn, which is over in the coast area. And so maybe, let's see, the Orange Blossom Yarn Crawl ends, I think, on Saturday this weekend. And so we would need to go to those 2 stores between this week and Saturday to get our next 2 stamps so we can be entered into the big prize drawing. Nonetheless, when you go to a local yarn store, how do you not buy yarn, right? Am I right? So Four Pearls is the the owner of Four Pearls is the mother of Emma's Yarn. So if you like Emma's Yarn, she is a local indie dyer here in Florida. And this past weekend, they were doing a huge sale on Emma's Yarn for her one-of-a-kinds that she, had left over from when they were testing colors or whatever. And they were all 20% off. So I decided to find 2 skeins of the one-of-a-kinds and make a sock set out of them. And so these ones don't really have names. She just calls them Crazy Beautiful Color, which is her, like an indicator that it is a one-of-a-kind. And so I walked away with making myself this lovely, wiggle everything, this lovely set for a pair of socks. And this pink, it's kind of coming off a little red maybe here, but it is just this bright fluorescent loving pink. Makes me happy. It screams summer, along with this beautiful just rainbow speckled goodness. And this is on her Practically Perfect sock base. Both of them are, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon base. And so these will eventually become a pair of socks. So that is procurement number 1. I also just dropped something on the floor. Procurement number 2 is also by Emma's Yarn. While we were at Four Pearls, I saw the colorway that Emma made for the Orange Blossom Trail, I forgot, whatever it's called, Orange Blossom Yarn Crawl, and I loved it. In fact, there was some beautiful sister bags made up for this, and they had oranges, and I almost bought one, and I said, probably shouldn't, but I can buy some orange fabric and make my own orange bag if I really want one. I've decided that I'm going to make this into a party of 5 cowl. So I only got 1 skein, and the other cowl that I've made in that same pattern is one of my most favorites. The way that it drapes, the way that it wraps, it's like an infinity cowl, and it starts off, I believe you start off with smaller stitches or larger stitches, and then you decrease or increase. So it kind of has like a small neck and then it gets bigger. So it kind of just the way it lays is fantastic. I've worn it, I think maybe on my first episode, but I will link it, the project page that I made for that, for Ravelry, down below. So if you want to take a look at it or see some other project pages that have made that pattern, it is really a great pattern, not only for warmth, but like just an accessory to have. It's fantastic. It's light, it's airy, it's perfect for summertime in Florida. And so I wear that a lot. And so when I saw this yarn, I thought, well, I don't know that it would make a great pair of socks just because kind of the way that the variegation is, but it would make a beautiful Party of Five cowl. And so this is the Orange Blossom Yarn Crawl 2024 colorway, made by Emma's Yarn on her Practically Perfect sock base, which again is that 80% 20 superwash merino, 20% nylon. I cannot talk. And just, it's like, it's an orange blossom. It's so perfect. But I am afraid with like some of the white here, how it would knit up in a pair of socks. But as a cowl, oh, it's going to be fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to turning that into a project. If I get some socks done, maybe I'll bring this on the plane, because this would be great plane knitting for a long plane ride. So that is that procurement. My Magical Mischief March. Yep. March colorway came in. She ships these at the end of the month, so this shouldn't be a spoiler, but if it is, I'm telling you now, look away if you haven't gotten yours. I've had this for a week or so now, so I think most people should have theirs. But if you participate, again, I always get my Freckled Whimsy Magical Mischief Club on her Splendid base, which is an 85 superwash merino, 15% nylon base. And this month's colorway is called Luna's Lost Shoes. Oh my gosh. Look, if you've seen the movies, this is her shoe. This is Luna and it's her shoe. And I love when you see them hanging up in the rafters at the very end of the movie, and she skips away, and now that I've shown it, I can cast it on. So I think that this will be my next pair of striped socks, because this is, look at it. It's so fantastic. Okay. And last but not least, I told you it's been 3 weeks. Don't judge. My owl mail came in from Goosey Fibers. I'm gonna take it out. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand, but I didn't think about it. So this is her February Burrowing Owl. This is the colorway. Oh, it smells so good. Don't forget to smell your yarn. This is on her Goosey sock base, which is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Look at it. And that is fantastic. But she decided to pair it with minis this time. So, I mean, who doesn't need more minis? Okay. This is a little bit darker than what it is in person. Just a little bit, slightly. But honestly, the richness of it looks, I mean, it's fantastic. I don't have words for how amazing of a dyer she is. And so this is 5 93 yard or 20 gram minis. Again, on her 75%, 25% base. And that's the set. Caitlin, you're amazing. This is so fantastic. And she happened to drop the March Owls on Saturday, I think. So I just got notification that that's on its way. I can't. I don't know. This is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited to knit all of this up. It'll probably be a next year project because I want to have the whole collection. And I decided I was going to make an owl blanket. I think I did say that. So I do have the intent of making blankets. We'll just see if I follow through, or do I just make owl socks? Or do I make socks and a blanket? Because then I have, multiple things that I've used the yarn for. What would you do? Tell me, give me your suggestions. I need them. I'm running out of ideas. I have too many things I want to knit, and I could just use your guidance. So that is all of my procurements. I have some more coming. It seems like everybody did their drops over this past weekend. So I know that I have some yarn clubs coming, the owl, and I have been doing the chicken yarns by Hugh Loco for the last 2 years, maybe 3. I can't remember how long, 2 or 3 years now. Those started this month. And if you haven't done the chicken yarns by Hugh Loco yet, I'm telling you, they're amazing. I could just do an owl and a chicken yarn blanket. Oh, see, there's so many things that you can do. I don't know what to do now. Okay. When it comes, we can look at it together, and then you can give me some ideas. Should I make socks with each one and then put it into a different project? Should I just make one big ginormous project out of it and make it a collection? Okay, I need your help. So please let me know your thoughts. So I will also link to her website, Hugh Loco, down below. So you can go check out all the chicken yarn. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. She does such a fantastic job. And when that comes, I will be excited to show that off as well. So that is, I think, all that I have for episode number 7. Like I said, we are traveling next week. I will try and get an episode in before, but with editing, that may not happen. We'll see. If not, I will definitely do something when we get home because I'll have some time and get you all caught up on our travels. We are going to London proper. We're there for the whole week. I'm so excited. If you have any recommendations on things we should do, obviously yarn is definitely on the table. We will go to some of the yarn shops there. I get a proper British tea time. I'm so excited for that. My youngest and I are great big fans of the Great British Baking Show on Netflix. And so we are doing, I know that it's not the same show, but it's the Big London Bake. They have like the tent and the similar setup to what you see on the Great British Baking Show, where you get to go and actually bake for like 90 minutes. They have like the recipe and all of the stuff for you to do. So he and I are doing that. I'm so excited to do that with him. He's really excited about it as well. We have tours of everything. I think we might go to a football game. And I think we have tickets to go see Back to the Future on Off-Broadway there. So I'm so looking forward to a break and to spend some quality time with the kiddos and my husband. And so that will be a nice break, a nice de-stressing, and some good quality family time that I'm really looking forward to. So if I don't see you before then, I hope that you are well. I hope that you are enjoying whatever you're working on. I hope you have a ton of projects to keep you busy and that they are bringing you joy. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye.